do is I like to follow politics, not because I think it's worth anything or it's going to solve anything. I just love the idea of a bunch of grown men and women staying in that high school mindset of the popularity contest. I think that we as Canadians are now moving towards the American style, where you got two teams. You have the left and the right. Already? Really?
To the politics, not you.
Oh, boo to the politics. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so we got the left and the right. Now, the conservatives are also called the right, as I screwed that right up. Bomb, bomb, bomb.
Not so bad.
Okay. Wow, this is actually exceedingly, like, really nerve-wracking. Okay, so.
You're doing fine.
Yep, thanks, Billy. So.
Yeah!
Okay, so we also call the right conservatives. So I always wonder, what are they conserving? One of their favorite things is marriage, okay? And I like the biblical view of marriage. I like thinking it has kind of a Norman Rockwell feel to it. I like picturing myself back then, kind of looking at standing out in front of my shack, holding my dearest hand, at the ripe old age of 35, as death's cold, clammy hand grips around my throat. And I hold onto her hand and look over at my property, and and see that she's still lovely at 28. The one eye left from leprosy is still shining brightly, and the 3 teeth left in her head still chew the small amount of protein we can get into our diet. And then we can sit and reminisce about how it was when we met, and say, "Do you remember, sweetie? My father pulling the goat, and I carrying the 3 potatoes that made up your dowry. Can't buy anything for 3 potatoes these days. And do you remember your middle age? Remember you just started shaving, and you thought that 5 o'clock shadow just cast across everybody. Oh, those were happy days." Okay, so one other thing we have to deal with when you follow politics is you have to deal with polls, and not the Polacks, because they're generally benign, but any polls that say that what we believe. So they tell you how many people will do this or that. And it's essentially someone who at 6 o'clock will get a phone call and say, "Yeah, I'll talk to you about whatever the hell's going on in the news, and I'm willing to talk to a complete stranger about how I feel about things."
Sorry.
No problem. That's fine. Okay, and one of my favorite polls, or my favorite thing that ever came out, was that conservatives, if given the chance, would choose to live in 1950s. Now, if you want to be born in 1950, you're a genius. Because when you're 17, you're going to hit 1967. You're going to be at Woodstock. You get weed, acid, and free love. You are a genius. But if you want to be an adult in 1950, you have made a grievous error. You have now just gone home from war, you've lost many of your family, and you have 3 kids while you've been fighting for 6 years. Oh, I should have wrote more of this down. I wrote bullet points to try and remind myself of what to do, and then that doesn't work at all for me. So you have dude. Okay, so the other thing I remember about the 1950s, we'll just skip all the rest of that. I was kind of going to say that you have a nice thread of an H-bomb to keep you warm at night, but kind of lost that. So the other thing about the 1950s is that it was still okay to hit women. Now, I don't know if life would be better if we could still do that. I wonder what kind of confidence it would take to pull back and crack someone and think that they wouldn't kill you in your sleep. Now, I like to think of today, if I pulled back and haymakered my girlfriend, would she ever look at me and go, "Ooh, I'm sorry I burned dinner, sweetie. Thanks for the constructive criticism. Can you hand me that bag of peas? I think my eye's going to swell up again." Oh, my neighbors, they must think our doorknobs are up here, or I'm always down here. Well, if I hit her, just once and she deserved it. So, where is that gonna lead? If you can hit a woman, she'll stay with you. That's gonna lead to a culture of violence. And then you're gonna hear sweet old women giving advice like, "Now, sweetie, I know when you're done making breakfast that you're looking at him and the hate boils up, and you want to crack him in his bald spot with a cast iron skillet. Hold back. The easiest solution to this is a well-placed and well-timed honey badger. What you have to do is you go to Dr. Cabbage and you say you're having a little trouble sleeping. So you take the pills that he's going to give you and you put them in a nice vanilla pudding. I have the recipe right here. And then when he goes out with his friends, you take that vanilla pudding to the dump and you sedate yourself a badger. And what you want to do is take that badger and put it in either the fridge or the bathroom. And when he comes home in a drunken stupor, that badger will now be awake and terrified to find itself there. And when he... Dude. And when he opens that door or takes that piss, those terror screams will sustain you and allow you to be nicer to him in the future. How do you think I stayed with your father for 34 years? Okay. So, last one. Thank you. So, next thing we'll just go on to porn and the ubiquity of porn. Porn is all around us. You can't turn on a computer without it. So apparently this is causing a problem with the younger set. There's apparently I read this in something called like Psychology Today. I don't know if it's a Latin title, but they're probably having trouble maintaining erections because it's hard to put together the fact that you can watch women in porn and the women that you find aren't nearly as accepting of a butt plug. So, in my experience, I haven't had any difficulty with impotence, but in a darker day, I did have to take antidepressants. And anybody who was on those will know that one of the side effects of antidepressants is decreased sexual performance. So what happened in my case is I could still get an erection, but it was impossible to orgasm. That may sound like a plus. But when you are in a dark place in your life and you can't reach your goals, you don't want your cock standing as a perfect metaphor for your situation. Thank you. Sean Hughes, everybody!